For years, whispers about Meghan Markle's pregnancies have floated around. At first, they were dismissed as tabloid noise, just wild theories about camera angles, awkward belly bump footage, and conspiracy-minded Twitter trolls. But you know that gut feeling you get when things don't quite add up and no one wants to be the first to say it? That's what this has started to feel like. From overly staged photo ops to the obsessive belly cradling that sometimes felt more theatrical than maternal, people noticed. But lately, those whispers have become louder, and they're no longer coming just from the internet's darkest corners. Now, word is spreading that someone who may have been directly involved in Meghan and Harry's pregnancy journey is preparing to speak out. That's right, someone with apparent first-hand knowledge of what really happened behind the scenes is allegedly letting details slip. And what they're saying isn't subtle. They're not dropping vague hints or coded language. They're suggesting, outright, that the pregnancy the world watched unfold, the one featured in Netflix documentaries, splashed across glossy magazine covers, and discussed in teary-eyed interviews, may not have been real. Allegedly, the entire experience was staged. And that one word, staged, has sent royal insiders into absolute panic. It's pulled Meghan and Harry back into the firestorm they likely thought they'd left behind in Buckingham Palace. Now let's be clear, using a surrogate isn't scandalous anymore. Many public figures go that route for personal or medical reasons, and society is increasingly accepting of that choice. What makes this situation explosive is the possibility that it was presented as something it wasn't. The issue here isn't surrogacy, it's the potential deception. Meghan and Harry didn't just go about their business quietly. They built an entire brand around authenticity, resilience, and emotional truth. So, if their pregnancy journey was carefully curated fiction, people feel duped. Betrayed. That betrayal cuts deeper when it's coming from a couple who claimed they left royal life to protect their peace and raise their family in private. They walked away from the palace, they said, to escape the press. But then came the media deals. The public milestones. The docuseries, the interviews, the book tours. They leaned into the spotlight they once shunned. And here's the truth, when you invite the public in and monetize your story, the rules change. You can't sell an image for profit and then act shocked when people start asking questions. What makes all of this worse is just how controlled and calculated every appearance, photo, and statement has been since they left the UK. Now, as whispers of a surrogate surface, the timing couldn't be worse. The royal family is already managing a wave of PR crises, and now the Sussexes are back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Reports say the palace is livid behind the scenes. If someone close to the alleged surrogate is saying it was all staged, that doesn't just damage Meghan and Harry's image, it reflects on the entire royal machine. Meanwhile, the internet has gone into full detective mode. Frame-by-frame analysis, slow-motion videos, archived photos, people are dissecting it all like it's a forensic thriller. And some of the footage is hard to ignore. Even Meghan's die-hard fans are starting to tilt their heads and ask, wait, did that bump just fold? The speculation is endless. There's no bombshell Oprah-style interview yet. No formal confession. But if even a fraction of these claims are true, it would be one of the biggest breaches of public trust in modern royal-adjacent history. And what makes this story even more unsettling? The silence. Meghan and Harry, usually quick to clap back or set the record straight, have said nothing. For a couple that made a career out of speaking their truth, this radio silence doesn't scream innocence, it screams strategy. PR teams. Legal advisors. NDA lockups. According to insiders, their legal team isn't just trying to bury the story, they're scrambling to figure out where it started. Was it a leaked call? A loose conversation that went public? Or is the alleged surrogate finally tired of being a secret? Because if the last one is true, things are about to escalate fast. Hollywood is full of people who kept secrets for years until one day, they didn't. And if someone with insider knowledge decides truth outweighs discretion, the consequences will be massive. Now let's talk about Hollywood, because that's Meghan's territory. She may not have been a household name before marrying Harry, but she wasn't naive. She understood the game, how media narratives are built, shaped, protected. When she brought Harry into that world, it wasn't just romance, it was branding. She introduced him to a world of producers, influencers, media veterans. And almost overnight, Harry transformed, from stiff-lipped royal to podcast guest, Netflix lead, best-selling author. His image was repackaged for public consumption. And it worked. At first. The public embraced it, the story of two people escaping an institution to live authentically. But that authenticity is starting to crack. Because if one piece of their story is fake, what else might be? Suddenly, the Oprah interview, the Netflix series, the memoir, the speeches, they don't feel like truth-telling. They feel like storytelling. And that's why the palace is reportedly not just annoyed, they're enraged. Harry and Meghan may have left their royal roles, but their actions still affect the brand. And that brand is built on legacy, dignity, and public trust. When someone implies that a royal pregnancy may have been a carefully coordinated performance, that trust collapses. But there's also an emotional dimension here. If there was a surrogate, why hide it? Was it shame? Fear of criticism? Or was it calculated, a way to protect the fairy tale? Let's not forget, a royal pregnancy is powerful PR. It generates headlines, photo ops, global buzz. If this wasn't about privacy, but about image crafting, that terrifies palace insiders. Because it suggests there were people who knew. Advisors, staff, maybe even family. If this deception was coordinated, it's not just a Meghan and Harry problem, it's a royal institution problem. Most royal scandals fade over time, but this one feels different. Because this isn't about money or protocol, it's about emotional truth. It hits at the very core of what Meghan and Harry have sold: honesty, vulnerability, the journey to parenthood. And if even that is a fiction? That's not just a PR problem, that's an identity crisis. For Meghan, it's especially painful. She spent years crafting an image built on strength, struggle, and motherhood. Her bump was a symbol. Her words, a rallying cry. For Harry, it's no less damaging. He left the monarchy to protect his wife and children, swearing never to let the press destroy another woman he loves. Some call him a victim. Others, complicit. Either way, his silence now feels like absence. The Harry the world once knew, the cheeky prince, the rebellious royal, the soldier with heart, feels lost in the fog of branding deals and managed narratives. Even people close to him are saying it: Hollywood has changed him into someone unfamiliar. What's left is a couple that sold the world a story, and is now watching that story unravel in real time. Not because of the tabloids, but because of silence. Because when your brand is built on truth, and you meet scandal with silence, people don't assume innocence. They assume there's something to hide.